saying that his shooting and his death was captured on CCTV footage. Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so there's this crazy story coming out of South Africa. And it's an interesting situation because you see some of the things that take place over here in hip hop are starting to spread globally. Now, South Africa is known as being a rough place, a tough place, right? And there is a rap superstar over there by the name of AKA. And it seems like he was shot and killed in cold blood in his hometown. So man, let's talk about this situation. So let's bring up this news story that pretty much talks about what went down and how this happened and how it's affecting the people in South Africa who are fans of this rapper, right? So the headline says this. It says, AKA, slain South African rapper, once in a generation pop culture sensation. So basically paying tribute to this rapper, AKA, who died out there in South Africa. Now, it's well known that South Africa is a very, very rough place, you know? It's got a lot of problems and a lot of issues and a lot of things going on there. And that's not to disparage the people there because we have the same things going on over here in the States. And it seems like when it comes to the music, they have some of the same problems as well as we get through this story. So the story starts off by saying, AKA, South Africa's most recognizable name in hip hop, was gunned down with his friend, celebrity chef Tabelo Tibbs Montesani, outside a restaurant along Durban's popular night spot, Florida Road, on 10 February. So it seems like he was out there with another friend of his and he lost his life too. And both of them were gunned down outside of a popular restaurant on a popular road called Florida Road. Now, this is a crazy situation because as we get through the story, you're going to hear similarities to what we see in the drill culture here in America, man. So let's check this out. So it continues by saying this. It says, it's reported that AKA was killed in a cold-blooded shooting, a reoccurring theme of gangster rap culture. The ghastly manner of his death, an orchestrated hit as captured by CCTV footage, is a first in South African music history and has had international reverberations. So basically saying that his shooting and his death was captured on CCTV footage, and there's a shock across South Africa because this is the first time this has ever happened. Now over here in the States, we've seen this happen a lot, caught on film, caught on tape, FBG Duck, a lot of the people in Chicago, even down in Atlanta when King Von lost his life, just a lot of rappers, man. We've seen this happen. But to the South African culture and the music scene there, this was a shock to see somebody of high stature have this happen to him. Now, the 35-year-old AKA was born in Cape Town as Kiernan Jarryd Forbes and would later also tag himself as Super Mega or Bhova. He was based in the country's biggest city, Johannesburg, where he hunkered down atop the hip-hop food chain for more than a decade. So they're saying he put in the work, and for over a decade, he was at the top of the hip-hop food chain there in South Africa. So that lets you know he's got a lot of fans, a lot of people love his music and what he was doing. Now, from the start, with his 2011 breakout single, Victory Lap, it seemed AKA was born for the role of top dog in a highly competitive and adversarial hip-hop scene. And I'm glad that they talked about that point because in hip-hop, man, a lot of the times with these scenes, it's not like a kumbaya type of thing, right? It's not everybody rooting for everybody's success. It's really a dog-eat-dog world, and people are trying to, scrape to the top by any means, meaning get your competition out of here by any way. Be it battle them and make them look stupid on a track to where nobody else wants to be a fan of them, say like a Ja Rule 50 Cent type deal, or, in present day, it's been a lot of gangster stuff going on. Let's keep it real. It's been a lot of shoot 'em up, bang bang stuff, and it's almost competition based as well. It's not even almost, man. It seems competition based as well, because at times it feels like there can only be one top dog, but what we see is there's a lot of room for a lot of people, so it shouldn't be an environment like that, right? Now, Cape Town is regarded as the birthplace of conscious hip-hop in the country. Johannesburg scene generally follows more commercial imperatives, often cloning U.S. rap culture. So they're saying that Cape Town, they usually do more of the hip-hop, conscious hip-hop, more positive stuff. But in Johannesburg, where I guess he was originally from, they actually gravitate towards the US rap culture. So that includes gang culture, drill rap and things of that nature. Commercial US hip hop, generally speaking, is defined by conspicuous self-aggrandizement, photogenic babes, and bling. It has been marked by fierce rivalries between cities and genres, and by guns, gangs, drugs, misogyny, violence, incarceration, and death. Now that is painting a bleak picture of hip hop here. And I don't believe that's the case, because there's different types of artists, man. Like, a lot of people gravitate towards like the artists that kicked off like in 2017, like you got your Lil Uzi Verts and stuff. It's diverse. It's more diverse than this article is making it seem, man. And I don't believe that, because yes, there is a lot of wildness that goes on when you're talking about drill, when you're talking about gangster rap, but there's artists that fall way between all those things, you know what I mean? And there's artists who don't have to deal in any type of violence or any type of incarceration and death, and they do fairly well, man. Look at like Yeet and people like that, right? AKA embraced his self-anointed mission as a hip-hop star wholeheartedly. Undoubtedly, the African music landscape is diminished by his untimely death. His chest-thumping rants about his mega status and liberties, even when cringeworthy, are also inimitable. He may not have been the most lyrical rapper or most gifted musician of this generation, but he certainly had the audacity to be once-in-a-generation pop culture icon. So basically, giving him his props for all the work that he laid in the hip-hop game. Now, it goes on to talk a little bit about his beefs and fame and stuff like that, so let's look into that, because they're trying to paint the picture that this might have played way into him losing his life. Now, unquestionably, AKA's single-minded drive to reach the apex of hip-hop scene rubbed many up the wrong way. He bruised several fragile egos on the slippery slope upwards. Within such an aggressive-driven scene, he'd had many daggers drawn against him. So basically saying that, he was burning bridges on his way up. And as he was doing that, he was creating enemies. Now it goes on to talk about his beefs, so let's see where this goes. Now it says, AKA, like most of his hip-hop peers, didn't do much to disassociate himself from the violence in US rap. It appears cool, irresistible, loaded, and confers much value street credibility on the winners and their record labels. Now, it goes on to say that AKA thrived on numerous beefs with his main South African rival, Casper Nyovest, and lesser fish such as the re-emergent star Ifani. AKA stoked a beef with his former friend, Nigerian star Burna Boy. But in recent interviews, he had been quite conciliatory about Burna. So basically saying that he had a beef even with Burna Boy. Now, Burna Boy is one of the most known names in hip-hop, to be real with you. Like, he wins like the international superstar for a long period of time on most of these award shows, right? Now, they end the article by saying these things about AKA. So it says, AKA's sudden death is a deeply disturbing tragedy and development in South Africa's hip-hop. Previously bitter rivals between rappers had been driven by verbal insults and not much more. But murder is a whole different story and a whole different territory. AKA's life and music transformed the game. Let's hope his death does not foreshadow something more sinister for the music future. Now, really, this serves as a cautionary tale about, gravitating towards gangster rap and the gangster rap culture, right? Like, you don't know how anybody else is going to take what you put out there. And hopefully what he said on Wax and him boasting of being the best South African artist, it didn't lead to his untimely death. You know what I mean? It's a terrible situation and a tragedy all around. But obviously, man, for South Africa, this is something new according to what this article is saying. You know what I mean? And their hip-hop scene seems to be new and burgeoning. So I'd hate for this to dissuade anybody from pursuing their dreams in hip-hop, because it ain't all bad. Now, what do y'all think about this situation, man? Do you just think that this is a situation that's playing out all over the world? And is it really tied to rap, or is it really just tied to more of gangster culture and living that street life, right? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell, so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.